Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 97 based on novel. So let's start. Wang Lin's eyes became serious as he charged over like lightning. Although Wang Shua's appearance was that of an old man, Wang Lin was still able to recognize him at a glance. Wang Shua's heart was filled with sorrow. Along the way, more than half of their group of a dozen had died. He had gone through these kinds of battles almost every day, and he felt the shadow of death getting darker and darker. The surrounding countries had all lost, they were either destroyed or became vassals of the Forsaken Immortal clan. Rank 3 cultivation countries weren't the main battleground for the Forsaken Immortal clan, they were merely places for them to train their weaker clan members. The country of Suzaku didn't care too much about rank 3 cultivation countries. At first they only sent some early-stage soul formation cultivators over, but as the war raged on, they pulled out all their messengers and completely gave up on the rank 3 cultivation countries. In the eyes of the country of Suzaku, nascent soul cultivators were simply too weak. Wang Lin let out a bitter smile as he watched another fellow sect member die. He watched the 4 Forsaken Immortal clan members who clearly had the power of late-stage core formation cultivators not kill them but instead chase them around. Just at this moment, a meteor raced across from the sky, giving off a terrifying aura. The 4 Forsaken Immortal clan members were shocked and immediately looked over. In almost an instant, the meteor disappeared and someone with long, white hair arrived from the distance with only a few steps. The 4 Forsaken Immortal clan members' expressions changed. The 4 of them realized that this man with white hair gave off an aura that made them tremble. They only ever felt this kind of aura from the 7-leaf shamans in their clan. Soul transformation, one of the 4 Forsaken clan members trembled and exclaimed. Without any hesitation, he turned around and ran. The other 3 quickly followed him. Wang Lin's eyes were cold as he slapped his bag of holding to let the mosquito beast out. The mosquito didn't even wait for an order before charging out after the 4. Screams could be heard from the distance as the 4 of them became dinner for the mosquito. All of this happened too fast, so fast that Wang Shua and company were completely dumbfounded. Wang Lin turned around toward Wang Shua and smiled. Wang Shua, do you recognize me? Senior, it's you. Wang Shua was startled and immediately recognized Wang Lin as the person who had reached the soul formation stage at Hengyu Mountain. Wang Lin shook his head and said, we haven't met for many years and you have already reached the late stage of core formation. That is worthy of celebration. Forget it, I'll help you break through to the nascent soul stage. With that, Wang Lin pointed to the spot between Wang Shua's eyebrows. The seal in Wang Shua's mind was removed as all the memories of his past life flooded into him, causing him to pass out. Wang Lin blandly looked at Wang Shua's fellow sect members. All of them but one were at the early stage of core formation while the last person was at the mid-stage. That person also had one of the spirit seeds Wang Lin had left behind. Wang Lin asked, where are you guys going? The person who had the spirit seed was an old man. His body trembled as Wang Lin looked at him and he said, about 10 of us juniors were sent to the country of Lin to help them. However, they lost to the Forsaken Immortal clan, so we are killing our way back to Zhao. Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding. A jade flew out and he injected a bit of his domain inside it. He threw the jade to the old man and said, take this jade. It can keep you guys safe until you reach Zhao. Go. The old man held the jade like a treasure and bowed many times toward Wang Lin. To him, this jade was his life. Wang Lin waved his right hand to grab Wang Shua and then they disappeared. The old man took a deep breath and then bowed deeply toward where Wang Lin had disappeared to. This bow was in good faith without any other thoughts. A middle-aged burly man on the side carefully asked, Marshal Uncle, who is that senior? The old man's eyes were filled with reminiscence as he said, he is my country of Zhao's only soul formation cultivator. Soul formation cultivator, he is someone from Zhao? The middle-aged man took a deep breath. You should have heard of his name before. The old man flew away and the other members of his sect quickly followed. Wang Lin. His name is Wang Lin. The moment the words, Wang Lin, came out, everyone else, including the burly man, trembled and their eyes became filled with terror. In the cultivation world of Zhao, the name Wang Lin represented heaven-piercing killing intent and a world-ending catastrophe. On that day, blood flowed like a river and the land of Zhao was dyed red from blood. No one could forget that day. Even to this day, the calamity the Ting family faced was still passed down in Zhao's cultivation world. It forever remained in people's hearts and became the goal of many young cultivators. On the top of a mountain, Wang Shuo slowly awakened. His eyes were filled with confusion at first, but it slowly disappeared. Then he calmly looked at the white figure standing beside him. Wang Lin, a bitter voice came from Wang Shuo. Wang Shuo. Wang Lin turned around and smiled. Wang Shuo stared at Wang Lin as memories of the past rushed into his head until the moment where his wife died by his hand, then he let out a sigh. Thank you. Wang Lin shook his head and said, only you and I are left from the old Wang clan. There is no need to thank me. Wang Shuo hesitated a bit, then asked, you, what cultivation level are you at? Could you have reached the soul transformation stage? I haven't reached the soul transformation stage just yet. Wang Lin looked into the distance. Time passed by so quickly. I still remember us at the Hengyu sect, alas, Wang Shuo sighed. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he asked, Wang Shuo, what happened on planet Suzaku in the last several years? How did the Forsaken Immortal clan appear here? Wang Shuo was startled and asked, you don't know? Wang Lin shook his head. I wasn't on planet Suzaku for the last 7 years. Wang Shuo's heart shook. Although Wang Lin had casually said it, it sounded insane to him. Not on planet Suzaku. That meant that Wang Lin's cultivation could break through the atmosphere. Wang Shuo took a deep breath and told Wang Lin everything he knew. Wang Lin's expression remained calm, but his heart was in turmoil. The Forsaken Immortal clan had invaded and almost all rank 3 cultivation countries had fallen. Rank 4 cultivation countries weren't safe either. The country of Suzaku was resisting in full force, but they were still being pushed back. The Corpse sect was helping the Forsaken Immortal clan in full force, and 5 rank 4 cultivation countries had betrayed Suzaku. The Forsaken Immortal clan had already occupied half of planet Suzaku. Wang Shuo said, rumor has it that the Forsaken Immortal clan sent out 9 people and 5 of their identities have already been exposed. There are still 4 left, but no one knows who they are. They must be at a rank 5 or higher cultivation countries and probably hold very high positions. Wang Lin pondered. He never thought that in just a few short years such a big change would occur. Soul Refining Sect, Wang Lin took a deep breath. He had to quickly return to the Soul Refining Sect to see if there were any changes there. Wang Shuo's information was mostly rumors and not facts, so he didn't know anything about the Soul Refining Sect. Wang Shuo pondered a bit and slowly asked, Wang Lin, can you go back to Zhao and save it from danger? Also, our Wang family still has descendants living in Zhao. In these past several years, I have been secretly taking care of them. I was hoping that mortals wouldn't get mixed up in the war, but while I was away, I heard that the Forsaken Immortal clan was looking for mortals with spirit roots. I'm worried that the Wang family might have a child with a spirit root who will catch the Immortal Forsaken clan's attention. Sadly, I haven't been home in many years, so I don't know if there is anyone like that in the family. Planet Suzaku, country of Zhao, a rainy night. A horse carriage was galloping away outside the capital of Zhao. A bold, burly man sat at the front of the carriage and snapped his whip. YA. He looked very anxious and kept looking behind him. As the horses felt pain from the whip, they let out neighs and ran even faster. Mother, where are we going? The tender voice of a child came from inside the carriage. Mother will take you to our ancestral home. Only there will you be safe, a gentle and enchanting voice answered the child from inside the carriage. This voice also contained a hint of anxiety. The child named Yua continued to say, Mother. I was studying with the 3rd prince yesterday and he told me that Zhao is very dangerous right now. It seems like someone is fighting with those immortals. Mother, is it like that? You, take a rest. Don't ask so many questions. A man's deep voice came from inside the carriage. There were 3 people inside the carriage, a couple and their child. The woman was wearing a court dress. She was very beautiful and the beauty spot at the corner of her mouth gave her even more charm. The man's robe was made of python skin. He gave off an oppressing aura without even being angry. He had been in a high position for a very long time, so he gained a certain aura. As for the child, she looked to be around 6 or 7 years old, her cheeks were slightly pink, and her skin was very white. She was very cute. The inside of the carriage suddenly became very quiet. The only sound that could be heard was the driver shouting and the sound of the rain. Yua obediently nodded. She felt tired, so she slowly fell asleep in the woman's arms. My lord, the woman's eyes turned red and couldn't continue. The man let out a sigh and slowly said, all of the immortals in the capital have returned to their sects to prepare for battle. The invaders are very powerful, and as far as I know, the immortals of Zhao were defeated and have gathered in one place. The woman wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and whispered, why are those people looking everywhere for children? The man took a deep breath and bitterly smiled. Last night, I secretly talked with the king and found that they are looking for children with the qualifications to become immortals. I'm afraid that they have something big planned. Alas, if only great-grandfather was here, everything would be better. The woman's eyes lit up as she said, great-grandfather is an odd person, even the other immortals in the capital have to be respectful to him. Sadly, we can't find him. I'm afraid great-grandfather doesn't have time to bother with us. His sect has probably been attacked by those invaders too. Now the only hope left is the ancestral home, the man sighed as his gaze fell on the child. Inside the capital, 3 children had already been taken away by the invaders. Whether they were alive or dead was uncertain. Yue was the 4th, and this man had done everything he could to save his child. The woman looked at the sleeping child and whispered, my lord, what is so special about the ancestral home? The man pondered for a bit before shaking his head and saying, I don't know what is so special about it. Only that an immortal ancestor once left a message saying that if my Wang family faces great calamity, come to the ancestral home and smear the family blood on something. I was told that doing so could save our lives. The woman was startled. She had been married to him for many years but had never heard of this. It was said that, before my Wang family entered the capital, an immortal countless times more powerful than great-grandfather appeared. No one could stop him. The ancestral home has something he left behind. The man's eyes lit up. Even stronger than great-grandfather, the woman's eyes were filled with disbelief as she asked, is that immortal ancestor still alive? The man pondered a bit and uncertainly said, great-grandfather has lived for over 200 years. The immortal ancestor should be able to live even longer, so he should still be alive. The woman's eyes lit up and she quickly said, if that immortal ancestor can help us, then Yue will be safe. The man shook his head and bitterly smiled. It is only a rumor. No one knows whether it is true or false. However, the man pondered. The woman quickly asked, what is it? The records of my Wang family state that 200 years ago, there was a powerful family that existed in both the mortal and the immortal worlds of Zhao. That family was named Teng. The Teng family was so powerful that all the immortals had to take orders from them and the kings of the mortal world had to bow to them. The Teng family was the mortal enemy of my Wang family. The man's voice echoed in the carriage. Then, overnight, the Teng family was wiped out, all of their family members were killed. It is rumored that the person that wiped them out was that immortal ancestor. The carriage moved very quickly and 3 days later they arrived at a manor. This manor was not very large. 200 years ago, it was still part of a village before it was bought by the Wang family. It still remained the same as 200 years ago. After the carriage stopped, the bald, burly man jumped off the carriage with a tired expression. He opened the door and respectfully said, my lord, we have arrived. The man got off the carriage and looked at the manor with a hint of reminiscence in his eyes. During my childhood, I lived here for 1 year with my father. In the blink of an eye, 30 years have passed, but this place hasn't changed at all. The woman followed him off the carriage. Yue had her big eyes opened as he looked at the manor. Follow me, the man said with a deep tone and walked forward. There weren't any servants in the manor, only some elderly people. These elders were the most devoted followers of the Wang family. Although they were all white-haired, their eyes were still filled with life. One look from them could cause anyone's heart to tremble. That bald man felt terrified when he saw these elderly people. He felt like any one of them could defeat him in one move. His eyes suddenly locked onto one of the old men. After recognizing the item in his hand, he was startled and immediately recognized who the old man was. This old man was the #1 expert in the martial arts world. The man didn't say a word as he walked deep into the manor. Deep inside was a very normal-looking house. Yue curiously asked, Dad, is this our ancestral home? The man nodded. He was about to speak when a thunderous roar came from the distance. Then 2 men with tattoos covering parts of their bodies suddenly appeared above the manor. One of them gloomily looked at the people below him and said, you guys sure ran fast. The man's expression quickly changed. He quickly got in front of his wife and bitterly said, Honored immortals, your battles are with the other immortals, why make it so difficult for us mortals? The surrounding elders stared at the 2 in the air with eyes like lightning. The one with a gloomy expression coldly looked at the man and reached out. His goal today was the child with the spirit root. Just at this moment, all the surrounding elders let out roars and blocked the man. However, their bodies weren't able to resist, so they all coughed out blood and then were thrown to the side. The man's expression greatly changed. He quickly grabbed his wife and child and dragged them into the ancestral home. After entering the ancestral home, cold sweat covered the man's forehead. His eyes were bloodshot as he quickly pressed a series of tablets, causing a secret compartment to open. He immediately bit his finger and used blood to draw a symbol in the secret compartment. This symbol was something every generation's family head had to carve into their mind when they become the family head. Just at this moment, with a bang, the wall of the ancestral home turned to dust as the gloomy-looking person walked in. The woman got in front of her child with a look of despair on her face. At this moment, the place where the man had drawn the symbol released a mysterious light and a piece of jade floated out from the secret compartment. A mysterious power quickly surrounded the area. The gloomy-looking person's expression suddenly changed. He revealed a look of disbelief and quickly backed away. His buddy in the air also noticed the mysterious power and was about to go investigate. But just at this moment, the piece of jade flashed. The gloomy-looking person let out a miserable scream as the vein on his forehead bulged and he quickly backed away. Terror filled his eyes. He could feel a destructive aura coming from the jade. This aura was something even his clan's four-leaf members couldn't resist. But once the jade was activated, the gloomy-looking person had no chance of survival with his cultivation level. The jade flashed once and the gloomy-looking person coughed out blood as he was pushed out of the ancestral home. He fell to the ground and immediately died. His buddy who was about to go investigate suddenly stopped and immediately turned around to escape. He could feel an aura that he stood no chance against coming from inside the house. However, before he got far, the jade flashed once more. He coughed out a large mouthful of blood and fell from the sky, dead. This strange scene caused the three inside the ancestral home to be completely shocked. The man muttered to himself, "The rumors are true." The jade Wang Lin had left here contained a tiny piece of his G realm. With his cultivation back then, any nascent soul cultivator would immediately die before it. Right now, at the bottom of the Hengyu mountain outside the Qiandao sect, most of Zhao's cultivators were gathered. Their faces were filled with anger as they stared into the distance. They were all staring at a lone person floating in the air. A large portion of this person's body was covered in tattoos. Just by standing there, he emitted a powerful aura. A husky voice came from that person. "This cultivation country is indeed interesting. Do you guys think there is some treasure here that will allow you to reverse the situation?" A white-haired old man wearing a black robe walked out from the Qiandao sect. He stared at the Forsaken Immortal clan member with hatred in his eyes and said, "You can try." The person let out a laugh as his eyes lit up and his aura revealed its true strength. His tattoos moved until they eventually left his body and formed dragons that flew around him. "Interesting. I wasn't sent here to deal with you lowly cultivators, I was just passing by. However, since you asked, I now want to see what kind of treasure makes you guys so confident." His eyes revealed a look of disdain. As a six-leaf shaman, unless he meets a late-stage soul formation cultivator, no one else is a threat to him. He didn't believe that a late-stage soul formation cultivator would exist in a mere rank 3 cultivation country. With one step, he closed in on the Qiandao sect. The dragons around him all let out roars and flew toward the Qiandao sect. The tattoo dragons moved like lightning. All of the remaining cultivators of Zhao held their breaths as they looked on and their eyes all revealed a mysterious light. There was a rumor that a native Zhao cultivator reached the soul formation stage here 200 years ago. The rumor said that he had left behind a wood carving and anyone who obtains it can become his direct disciple. The place that the wood carving was kept was surrounded by a piece of his divine sense. If there was no fated person, it wouldn't open up. But if Zhao was facing great calamity, this carving would release a huge power. The moment the dragons closed in, the entire Hengyu mountain shook as a wood carving flew into the sky. The moment the wood carving appeared, the dragons charging forth trembled and the eyes of the man from the Forsaken Immortal clan revealed a mysterious light. So there is a treasure with a hint of a domain in it left behind by a soul formation cultivator. However, this soul formation cultivator's cultivation level is too low, only at the early stage of soul formation. Even if he personally comes, I can still kill him right here, so how could a treasure stop me? After the old man from the Forsaken Immortal clan finished speaking, the mysterious light in his eyes disappeared and they once more filled with disdain. As he spoke, he pointed at the carving with his right hand. The tattoo dragons charged toward the wood carving, creating sonic booms. The cultivators of Jiao that had gathered here all looked toward the wood carving. The carving was a symbol of hope and was extremely respected in Jiao. The carving gently trembled and shined brightly. Then a ring of light extended from it and collided with the tattoo dragons. Boom! With a series of bangs, the tattoos that formed the dragons became unstable and weakened. Eventually, a majority of the tattoo dragons shattered and disappeared. The remaining tattoo dragons all became smaller by one size. The cultivators of Jiao all became excited when they saw this. What's this? This carving is indeed interesting. It would be a waste to destroy it. The Forsaken Immortal clan member's eyes lit up as he waved his hand and several ancient-looking tattoos appeared. These tattoos circled around him as he took a step and walked forward. The wood carving lit up once more. The ring of light expanded and touched the tattoos around the Forsaken Immortal clan member. The ring of light trembled violently, but it wasn't able to resist and in the end dissipated. With one step, the Forsaken Immortal clan member arrived at the top of Hengyu Mountain. He reached out and was about to grab the wood carving. But the light from the wood carving suddenly became so blinding that it lit up the whole area, but the disdain in the Forsaken Immortal clan member's eyes was still there. He reached out and pressed down on the wood carving. Even if your owner personally comes, I'll still take it when I want to. The man picked up the wood carving, took a look at it, and smiled. This is indeed a treasure. If there is a chance in the future, I want to see the junior that left this carving. The entire Hengyu Mountain became silent. All of the cultivators silently pondered. Their symbol of hope was so easily taken. It seemed like the destruction of Jiao was inevitable. The disdain in the Forsaken Immortal clan old man's eyes became even stronger as he slowly said, looking on the fact that I got this treasure, I won't be too hard on you guys. Give up and become a subservient of my Forsaken Immortal clan. I can promise you that it is much better than being under the country of Suzaku. My wood carving is not something you can take. A calm voice came from the void and shortly after, two figures appeared. The Forsaken Immortal clan old man suddenly turned around and looked behind him with a terrified expression on his face. What terrified him was that someone was able to sneak up on him without him noticing. The two people that appeared from the void were Wang Lin and Wang Shuo. The moment the two of them appeared, some of the cultivators of Jiao recognized Wang Lin. Ancestor! Ancestor! One shout of excitement after another came from the cultivators below. Soon, these shouts seemed to be the only sound left in the world. Ancestor, Wang Lin let out a faint smile and nodded. The shouting became even louder. The Forsaken Immortal clan old man's expression was very ugly. The disdain in his eyes had long disappeared and was replaced with deep sense of dread. Sir, he opened his mouth to speak but was immediately cut off by Wang Lin. Hand back my wood carving. Although Wang Lin's tone was bland, it contained a powerful aura. The Forsaken Immortal clan old man's expression was gloomy. At a glance, this person looked like he was at the peak of the late stage of soul formation. However, upon closer inspection, he could feel a mysterious power inside this person. He had heard of this power from seniors in the clan. This power was the sign of a soul transformation cultivator. After pondering a bit, he threw the wood carving toward Wang Lin without any hesitation. The moment Wang Lin raised his hand to catch the wood carving, the old man shouted, "Tattoos, explode!" In the blink of an eye, a large amount of tattoos came from the wood carving and exploded, creating a powerful force. Wang Lin remained calm and pointed at the explosion with his right hand. The explosion was surrounded by a mysterious force and compressed into a small ball. The ball was filled with smoke and contained the explosive power of all those tattoos. The Forsaken Immortal Clan old man's expression changed greatly. He never would have thought that his attack would be so easily blocked by Wang Lin. Soul transformation, he bitterly muttered to himself before turning around without any hesitation to escape. He knew that he stood no chance against a soul transformation cultivator. Unlucky. I can't believe a rank 3 cultivation country's ancestor is a soul transformation old monster. How did I get so unlucky to run into someone like this? The Forsaken Immortal Clan old man's heart felt bitter. Just as he was about to leave, the sky darkened. A loud, tearing sound could be heard and a huge spatial rift appeared to block his escape. This old man stopped in terror. Did I let you leave? Wang Lin coldly looked at the person before placing a new divine sense into the wood carving. He threw the wood carving and it sank back into Heng Yu Mountain. The old man's expression was gloomy as he slowly said, "Sir, according to the agreement, the country of Susaku gave up all rank 3 cultivation countries for us to delay our attack on rank 4 cultivation countries. Do you want to break that agreement?" Wang Lin frowned and asked, "Who made the agreement with you?" "Zhu QZ?" The old man was startled. He glanced at Wang Lin and said, "Since Sir is a soul formation cultivator, you must know Qian Feng. It was him who represented Zhu QZ and signed the agreement with our young master." Qian Feng, Wang Lin's eyes became serious. He had heard this name twice, once from Liu Mai and the second time was now. Wang Lin coldly said, "Ridiculous." He raised his right hand and pointed at the ball that contained the power of the explosion. The ball turned into a shadow as it flew toward the Forsaken Immortal Clan old man. The old man's expression changed greatly as he pointed at his brow. A green light shined from his forehead. A giant plant with 6 leaves grew from the light and collided with the ball. Boom! The old man was forced back and coughed out blood. Not only did the plant coming out of his forehead not get injured, it shined even brighter. However, he didn't want to fight. As he backed up, he took out a purple stick. He used the stick to create ripples in the space before him and he was about to charge into a ripple. The purple stick he used was a branch from the reincarnation tree. The Forsaken Immortal Clan has a special method to use branches of the reincarnation tree to teleport back to the main reincarnation tree. Wang Lin's eyes were calm. He calmly raised his right hand and said, "Absorb." With the old man as the center, all of the clouds in the area gathered to form a ring and it quickly shrank until it was only 30 feet wide. The old man's face was filled with terror. The ripple that contained the power to teleport him lost its effect and collapsed. A powerful pressure came from all sides and landed on his body in the blink of an eye. He felt despair that he had never felt before. The panic in his eyes deepened as his hand formed a strange sign over his chest. He pressed down over his chest and clawed 10 bloody streaks. A large amount of blood sprayed out and then the plant on his forehead absorbed the blood like crazy. The planet grew rapidly and filled the entire ring. The old man's face was fierce as he shouted, "If you kill me, there will be a lingering tattoo curse on you. If my clan's ancestors see it, they will kill you." The vein on his forehead was bulging. Although his life plant was already out, it was still unable to resist the pressure coming from the ring. Waves of cracking sounds could be heard as the 30-foot wide ring shrank to 10 feet wide. The branches from the plant shattered one by one. Every time a branch shattered, the old man coughed out blood and his face became a bit paler. Wang Lin was still calm and he even smiled. "I have already killed quite a few Forsaken Immortal Clan members. Is this the tattoo curse that you speak of?" Wang Lin pointed at his chest and 5 balls of grey gas appeared. These 5 balls of gas formed 5 flashing tattoos. When he was attempting to reach the soul transformation stage, he felt these 5 masses of grey gas hidden in his body. They normally wouldn't do any harm, in fact, they helped his spiritual energy move more smoothly. That old man stared at the 5 balls of grey gas and his face turned pale. He could feel the aura of a 6-leaf shaman from the 5 balls of grey gas. The person who cast the curse was definitely killed by this person. Wang Lin calmly glanced at the old man as his right hand reached out and closed. The ring quickly shrank and the old man let out a series of miserable groans. The plant with 6 leaves was crushed, and as the ring shrank, the old man was crushed into a ball of flesh and blood. The ring disappeared and the ball of flesh and blood turned into a cloud of bloody mist. With Wang Lin's cultivation level, killing this person was as easy as blowing off dust. He didn't even need to use magic treasures. After all, his domain was different from other soul formation cultivators, and it already contained some celestial spiritual energy. The current him was half a step into the soul transformation stage. The moment he obtains enough celestial jades, he will reach the soul transformation stage. However, there were simply too few celestial jades. Wang Lin looked at where the Forsaken Immortal clan old man died and began to ponder. Zhu Qzi wouldn't make a deal with the Forsaken Immortal clan. This is strange. There is also Qian Feng. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. This video will end here.